Nous sommes de retour sur le plateau. Voilà, Clement est déjà là. Bonjour Clement. Morning.
Spanish and Calvin.
Mireille Grace.
Good morning, Clement.
It's a pleasure to be on your platform this morning. And, good morning to the beautiful people watching you out there. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, so means that today we're going to talking about the safety and health in the company.
Exactly.
And I was looking for the signification of safety in French. I've not yet get the answer, but today in society we have some in many companies we don't care about this thing because we took it at a second plan in the society, and I don't know why, but you know, maybe because it is in Africa, but in another country is different. So today you are going to talking about it to help all the company, all the manager to make sure that they can do that in their company.
Yes, that's very right. The same question, the same confusion you have, it's what many managers and company owners they have, but there is a sad truth about it because like I speak, the annual report from the International Labour Organization reports 2.78 million people dying every day because of work-related activities, either illness or accident. So because of the ignorance of the employer, so all of this is happening. So I believe if they are watching after this program, I think they might adjust and look at their management strategy in a different way so that they can protect their employees, the properties, and also the environment.
Okay. So the first thing is what? The first thing is what?
Okay. What I prepared especially for today is today is the World Day for Safety and Health at Work. Every year on the 28th April 2000, since 1987, the International Labour Organization has set this day for celebrating and commemorating those who have died as a result of work-related accidents. So like I said earlier, as of date we have 2.78 million people dying as a result of accident or illness at work. And also in 2010, though the information is a little bit rare, but the National Security Fund, that's the CNPS, reported 1,300 plus cases of work-related incidents. So these figures, they tell us how unsafe conditions at workplace is contributing to the death and also the social economic aspect of it. So that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And there's a small story which I will share with the televiewers and all the people watching. There is a case where a lady is today paralyzed because of she inhaled a toxic gas at her workplace. So what happened? In the course of doing her work, there was an accidental release of toxic gas in the department where she was, and so she could not follow the emergency evacuation plan, and so she inhaled part of this this toxic gas, and this led to her being moving as we speak on a wheelchair. So there are a lot of cases like that that are occurring, which managers, companies owners sometimes neglect. There is also another case where in the construction industry, they call in French BTP, this is also a sector where there is a high rate of accident, minor to even fatality. Yeah, I happened to experience one in my neighborhood when they were doing, they were building, I think it was an air plus set, and they did excavation, and they did not analyze the risks of the activities, because they were doing that during the rainy season. So they had to excavate, I think like 3 meters deep. And the next morning, rain fell overnight, and then the next morning when the employees they came in, so one part of the ground covered one of the employees. And the time to remove the ground and save him, he lost his life. So there are cases like that, people falling from height, blocks falling, and you see cases where while in the middle of construction, everything falls down. So all this has to do with safety. So these are just some few examples of what companies can be exposed to. So because of these different accidents, the ILO, which has been celebrating today, in different companies, those who are aware, they have organized several activities in order to raise this safety awareness among employees and equally visitors and clients, because at a certain extent, the safety aspect, the safety of the product also reaches the client. So if the product is not safe, it might also affect the client. So this day is particularly marked for that. And the term for this year is anticipate, prepare, respond to the crisis. And we know now the world is struggling to fight against the COVID. It has affected a lot of companies, and but surprisingly, there are some companies which survive this crisis because they had a good safety management system, which enabled them to activate the plan and to enable their workers keep working while the pandemic was there. And for others, they totally closed because they did not know what to do. And it is later that they started, adapting and looking at other ways they can continue to work safely without transmitting the virus. So there are a lot of workplace scenarios, which I will name some few here, like fire outbreak and emergency evacuation. It can happen anywhere in any company, and I think between 2015 till now, we have like a couple of 5 major companies which we know in Cameroon that has gone on fire. And fire is one of the major risks that companies are exposed to. It will not be good that maybe an economic operator or an entrepreneur loan money to do business, and then this business is consumed by fire. So there is a need to take safety precautions to prevent fire from originating at the workplace, not only destroying the materials, it might also be fatal, and again it's also a pollution to the environment.
Mais Clement, c'est pas pour les incendies dans les entreprises là, on met souvent les gaz, on accroche des gaz.
Les extincteurs.
Les extincteurs, voilà.
Okay.
Yes, on accroche souvent ça dans les compagnies, mais dans certaines compagnies, il y en a pratiquement pas.
That's the point. That's the point. In some companies, they think putting the fire extinguisher, it's enough. It's good to put, but it's also good to train employees and all those who have, in one way or the other, have activities in the company. They need to know how to use it. This fire extinguisher need to be inspected and operational all the time. There are some places where the fire extinguisher is placed and even locked. So when there is fire, you cannot easily have access. So there is a need for companies to know why the fire extinguisher is there. It's not for decorative purpose. It's not just to show to the inspector from the Ministry of Mine that, okay, look, we have a fire extinguisher that we can use to stop a fire. Fire extinguisher is good. It's just a firefighting equipment, but like I said, prevention is better than cure. Yeah. So because of that, we want all the company owners to know the importance of these fire extinguishers, because a small fire can lead to a big disaster. Yeah, because beside your companies, there are other companies' activities. Maybe they are storing gas bottles, they are storing fuel, and if fire starts in your office, it can explode, and then the number of people that can be affected can be more than just your employees. So this is why this is important. Another scenario which is there are cases where there can be need for emergency evacuation. So the fire starts and it is out of control, and the employees, the visitors, clients that find themselves in your company, they need to evacuate. And in this case, every employee needs to know what he or she is supposed to do in order to safely evacuate the building. So when I was climbing these stairs, I tried to check to see if there is any indications that if I am a new person in this building and there is a need to evacuate this building, which options do I have and which is the safest way I can take. But I think there is only one way getting up here, which is not that safe. So we need to have alternatives, they call it emergency exits, where if there is a need to evacuate the building, we can use various, imagine all of us using one road to evacuate this building. It can be challenging. So there need to be signs to indicate people which direction to take. We have also other scenarios like the present case of COVID. For companies who have a good safety management system, they should already have a protocol in place that enable them to reduce or even avoid the contamination of such. We have seen people practicing distance work or online work, promoting like separating working decks, providing nose masks to employees, availability of hydro for cleaning hands, and all those measures which are part of the system which they put in place in order to ensure that there is no contamination. Now imagine if just a common flu, that one employee comes to work with a flu, and you know flu is very contagious, and he or she affects 3, 4, 5 people, and these 5 people have to absent from work because of that. You know, it can have an impact on the company, because if it is the main engineer who is infected, for sure the project is going to go on slow because he will not be able to work. Same thing for other industries. Once the main engineer gets injured because he had an accident, the job is going to slow down. So these are some of the scenarios. An employee can slip and fall and get injured, and he has to absent from work because of that. He can be electrocuted. There are workstations that the workstation has to be designed in such a way that when you sit, you are comfortable and you can do your program very well. Imagine now the chairs you people are seated on and doing this program. If it was not comfortable, you know, after 1 month you feel pain. Yeah. So the employer has to look at ways to provide the safe working conditions. This in safety is known as ergonomic. That is the design of workplace to suit the working conditions. We have noise. Employees can be exposed to excessive noise, which at the long run can make them to be deaf. Imagine you, the husband or the wife working in a high noisy area, and by the time he realizes after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, he no longer hears very well. And maybe when the wife or the husband tells him, for example, I love you, and he cannot hear because he has been affected by noise at the workplace. So all these are some of the scenarios which companies can be exposed to. We also have stress, we have strokes, we have cases of heart attack. So your colleague can have a stroke here. You should be able to know what you will administer in terms of first aid. So these are some of those scenarios which we can have at workplace. For the cases of fire outbreak, there are a lot of causes, and by enabling the employees to have the skills and that can enable them to avoid or to prevent accidents by eliminating these agents that can cause fire, it will help your company to remain much more safer. Now, because of these injuries, there is a need to also understand what are usually the causes of this injury. Every industry has its own specific danger. See? It's not because you are seated in the office that you are safe. It's not because you think safety is just for those who are in the construction industry. There is danger everywhere, and it is important for the employer to know what are these dangers. I'm talking mostly about fire and electrocution, because these are the main causes of the main risks for which employees and employers' investment are exposed to. So most of the injuries happen mostly out of ignorance. Sometimes the employee does not know that they are exposed to certain danger. The employer himself might not be aware that these activities that we are offering has this or that risk to the employees or to customers. It can also occur as a result of lack of training. When the employees are not trained on the different dangers to which they are exposed, they will not be able to provide to prevent themselves from that danger. Imagine now if a company who is dealing with manufacturing chemicals, and the risks for these chemicals is that when you inhale, it can stop you from breathing for a certain number of time. So if employees do not know that, they will not take necessary precautions to avoid the release of that toxic chemicals. So in that case, when there's a release, they will be the first people to inhale it. And the employer must as well need to put protective equipment, so that when this, in case these toxic elements are released, they should be able to wear this protective equipment and then evacuate whatever chemicals has been released. We also have the cases of the top management not being committed in safety. There are some top managers that they are very aware about the dangers to which employees are exposed, but they do nothing to help them. Okay, they make as if they don't know, but as they know very well what this can cause to the employee in terms of danger. They know the consequences. They know this can be fatal. This can render someone to be paralyzed. You know, this can hinder someone from losing. This can let someone to lose sight. So the employer needs to be committed in the safety aspect of it, which means that what they need to allocate resources. They need to train the employees, make them aware about the different dangers to which they are exposed. We have the issue of negligence. There are companies who do all possible they can to make sure that employees are aware about the safety, the danger to which they are exposed. But again, because of negligence, employees do not respect these rules. For example, if they say, okay, why climbing a stairs, you need to always hold a handrail. You will still find some employees running up the stairs with maybe a cup of coffee or something, and then ending up missing their steps and falling down. There are places they will put rules. Okay, you must wear maybe a safety helmet before you enter the chantier, like they call in French. But you still find employees going to the chantier without helmet. They purchase them safety shoes and they don't wear it, and they sell it. They prefer to sell it. So because of this negligence, it makes them to be more exposed to the danger. And in this case, the aspect of negligence come in. So this is very important because employees are the first line of defense. They are the first people to protect themselves. Even if the employers are in some way responsible for not providing resources, in areas where the resources are provided, the employees, they fail to use it. Now, how does a company, or how can a company prevent work-related accident and illness? The first thing is they set the health and safety policy. There should be a policy. If the activities that the company is operating have a high risk of causing maybe fire, they should set a policy regarding fire. Maybe no smoking in this particular area. All personnel has to be trained on how to identify and prevent fire hazards. You know, so this policy has to be designed on that. If a policy, a company that is, for example, doing transportation, there is a high risk of accident, so they need to also include a policy for alcohol, drugs. Mm-hmm. Drivers should not drive under the influence of alcohol. That's their policy. So seat belts. So it should be part of their policy. By setting this policy, they can help to prevent safety-related accident and illness at work. Yeah, you wanted to say something? Grace.
Yes, I wanted to ask, when you have a company of VOUS car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the politic that the manager of this company can have. If you can, I don't know about the safety and health. When you have a company who employees who have the employee driving car.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of travel agency, urban travel agency, and we know the high rate of accident that is occurring on the road. Sometimes it can be due to poor maintenance of the car. It can be due to the fatigue on the driver. So in terms of safety, the agency or the company has to set in place good working conditions. For example, they can say our driving policy is that for every 2 hours that a driver is driving, he can take a 15-minute rest before continue. The car, after every journey, must go through a systematic maintenance. There should be mechanics that are there to check the car before travel and after travel, to make sure that the car is always in good state. They should make sure that the seat belts that are in the buses and in the trucks are all in good state, and that every passenger wears these seat belts and know what to do whenever there is an incident. They should also train all what you call in French hôtesses, all the stewards on first aid. Yeah, so that in case there is an accident, at least they should be able to do something, not to take videos and publish. So they should be able to provide first aid to the victims. So by doing so, respecting the road safety policies, traffic light, speed limit, they can install also monitoring system that enables them to monitor the driving policies. I'm seeing some companies, they have some information sheet where client can fill to rate the driver. It's also a good thing because it enables them to evaluate how safe the driver is driving. In our context, there are some drivers who think that by driving over speed is good driving. No, the good driving is respecting the speed limit, road traffic, and all those. So I think that's what they should do, setting up a management system, a health and safety management system, which take into consideration car maintenance, driver. Is the driver qualified does he has a valid permit? How often is he tested? Was the training, because anybody can fabricate a driving license. And
when we are in a company that there's a technical department. The technical department is there's the car there, everything, but now what is the attitude that they can have when we are a manager of not the big manager, but the manager of
the technical
department.
Yeah. So what they can do is the manager, sometimes we know how it functions in Cameroon. They can take the technical manager, maybe the brother of the company owner, and just put, he doesn't have that skills. Okay. But what he's supposed to do is to establish a standard working procedures and making sure that everybody respects that. That, okay, there's a checklist. When the bus comes back from a journey, maybe the bus has left Yaoundé for Douala. Once it drops the passenger at the agency, it goes straight to the technical department. And at the technical department, there are people who will be responsible to check the tires. They know what they are supposed to check in the tire. There are people who are supposed to check the state of the engine. They know what to check. They have a checklist. They should know the technical specification from the manufacturer of the bus. He knows that, okay, maybe after 50,000 kilometers, or after 10,000 kilometers, these are the checks that you need to do. So they should do all those checks, and it should be a standard procedure that everybody has to follow, not randomly. Not that, okay, when the driver hears a noise, that's when he comes back to the garage or to the technical department to complain. So each time the car comes from a travel, they have to do this inspection. So it should be systematic and a control on drivers, and there should also be sanctions. And so enough resting hours the technical department, they can also send information to the management to give enough resting hours for the drivers.
Oui, Clément.
Oui, Calvino.
Vraiment, parlant de la sécurité et de la santé dans les entreprises, moi j'ai une question à Carl Poulet, parce que il y a des entreprises dans l'informel qui font du n'importe quoi. Est-ce que c'est normal que dans une entreprise, on demande aux employés de payer eux-mêmes les outils de sécurité? C'est-à-dire, j'ai un grand frère qui allait travailler quelque part, il va travailler, on dit que venez vous mettre vos bottes et vos casques, premièrement. Est-ce que c'est normal que dans une entreprise, le patron demande à un employé, il enferme un employé dans l'usine, il passe la nuit là-bas dans l'usine, sous prétexte qu'il va regarder pour qu'on ne vole pas les choses, quoi. Oui. Il enferme l'employé. Bon, une autre question, est-ce que l'entreprise, parlant de sécurité, doit respecter les normes religieuses de tout un chacun? C'est-à-dire que si peut-être un employé décide de garder sa barbe, la barbe qui l'empêche par exemple de mettre un masque, ou alors il a une coiffure peut-être qui l'empêche de mettre un casque, est-ce que l'entreprise doit tenir compte de ça? Et puis le dernier volet maintenant, est-ce que c'est normal qu'une entreprise, depuis que tu travailles dans une entreprise, parlant de santé, on ne... Je ne sais pas, peut-être à la fin d'une année comme ça, on ne vous propose même pas que voilà, quelques cachets, quelques médicaments, de comprimés, on ne s'inquiète pas de votre santé.
Puis,
voilà le bilan.
Je vais commencer par le dernier là, et c'est vraiment, on appelle ça les incentives, les motivations, parce que quand vous mettez une politique sécurité et santé dans l'entreprise, et si c'est une grande entreprise où il y a différents départements, voilà, il faut prévoir, par exemple, à la fin de l'année, on dit voilà, en termes de performance, des objectifs, tel département a eu moins d'accidents, a eu moins de gâchets, moins de déchets, moins de consommation en énergie. Pour cela, on va récompenser peut-être avec ceci. Ça peut ne pas forcément être de l'argent, mais peut-être un award qui reconnaît ce qu'ils ont fait. Oui. Si c'est dans le cas des agences, on dit bon, voilà, le chauffeur, il a fait peut-être, je sais pas, 6 mois sans aucun incident, voilà, pas de gratuit sur la voiture et tout. On le motive, et ainsi de suite. Donc ça permet de motiver les employés. Maintenant, parlant de la religion, quand on laisse les barbes, ça dépend du risque, parce que si c'est dans les plateformes pétrolières où ils peuvent avoir des gaz toxiques et que des masques adéquats doivent sceller toute la bouche et les narines. Et si vous laissez la barbe, ça ne pourra pas tout enfermer. Et là, vous vous exposez au risque. Donc, ce que l'employeur fait, c'est qu'il met à la disposition déjà, la formation. L'employeur doit savoir les conséquences, les risques. Et c'est l'employeur lui-même, en voyant les conséquences et les risques, qu'il décide d'aller raser la barbe. Maintenant, dans le volet où c'est l'employé qui achète ses propres équipements de protection, là, c'est pas bon parce que déjà même la loi, l'employeur doit fournir aux employés les équipements de protection liés aux risques auxquels ils sont exposés. Oui. C'est pas à l'employé d'acheter cela. Donc voilà, et c'est vrai qu'il y a des cas où l'entreprise achète et l'employé préfère aller peut-être revendre au quartier et pour continuer à venir travailler sans les équipements. Et puis, c'est pas, dans le cas où on ferme les employés, il y a des heures de travail, on dit 8 heures de travail. Et ça doit être respecté parce qu'après, si l'employé, imaginez-vous que le project manager, après plusieurs heures de travail excessif et qu'il tombe malade, le chantier pourra peut-être s'arrêter parce qu'il n'est pas là. Ça va impacter le délai et tout, et ça aura un coût sur le truc. Donc, voilà, et maintenant, comme je disais, les mesures de prévention, preventing occupational safety and health related accident and illness, setting safety policies, identifying the hazards, l'entreprise doit identifier tous les dangers auxquels les employés seront exposés. Oui, et puis les former et également donner les équipements de protection en cas de... Et puis également les former sur, en cas d'urgence, voilà ce que vous devez faire et attribuer les responsabilités. Qui sera responsable lorsqu'il y aura, si on a besoin d'évacuer, est-ce que c'est Calvino qui va se charger d'évacuer tout le monde? Voilà. Est-ce que c'est Grâce? Bon, Grâce, tu n'as pas de responsabilité, c'est peut-être de chercher où l'extincteur arrive ou bien tu n'as pas, c'est d'alerter les sapeurs-pompiers, tel, on attribue les rôles et quand il y aura, et après on fait les simulations au fur et à mesure. Quand il y aura un incendie, tout le monde pourra de façon tranquille évacuer. On sait que le département technique, voilà, ils vont évacuer.
On ne s'embrouille plus.
Oui, on ne s'embrouille plus. Et on se retrouve au point de rassemblement. Voilà pourquoi le plan d'évacuation est très important. Parce que s'il n'y a pas le point de rassemblement, lorsque tout le monde évacue, on entend, bon, l'autre dit qu'il est en Dokoti, l'autre est à Bonabéry. Et ça fait qu'on ne sait pas qui a réellement évacué le bâtiment. Mais si on se retrouve tous au point de rassemblement, ça permet qu'on peut faire le comptage. On sait, bon, voilà, tel n'est pas ici. Ça veut dire que forcément, il est en quoi à l'intérieur. Et si les sapeurs-pompiers arrivent, ils pourront facilement. Ça peut les orienter. So, that's it. And they have to establish, implement, monitor the safety management system. Donc, they need to all the time to see, okay, is the plan working? If, for example, in a year, if the case of a construction company, if in a year we have 10 cases of injuries, one engineer is coming, I had a leg, I have an injury in the leg, the other one in the finger, the head, and all those stuff. So if we have 10 cases like that a year, the company can set a program that we don't want zero injury this year. So they have to monitor it to see how many people have, if it has worked. If at the end of the year they have zero injury, it means that they have successfully implemented their program, and they have to watch out for areas for improvement. They need to establish an emergency plan. How do we evacuate? I think I have talked about this already. They need to also allocate the resources. It's not just to put the plan, but need to allocate the resources. What are the things that we need? If we need fire extinguishers, how many do we need? And we give money for that. If we need personal protective equipment, what are the quantities? We allocate the resources for that. Do we need to hire, of course, we need to hire a safety officer. What is the cost? So all those things, we need to finance the budget, the action plan of the safety officer of that company. And then they need also to involve the employees when they are drafting the safety and health management plan. Now, what is the advantage? That's what the company owners are looking at. Okay? Parce que c'est que les entreprises regardent, c'est le manager ou le propriétaire de l'entreprise, c'est que lui gagne en investissant dans la sécurité et santé des employés. Parce que s'il faut acheter, par exemple, les casques, c'est le coût additionnel. Qu'est-ce que ça rapporte pour lui? Voilà. C'est ce que lui se demande. S'il faut payer un cabinet pour qu'il vienne réaliser, par exemple, un plan d'urgence ou un plan d'évacuation, qu'est-ce que ça va me rapporter? Alors, si cela n'est pas fait, lorsqu'il y a une urgence et que il y a eu des cas, on ne souhaite pas, qu'il y a peut-être de morts, c'est que si vous allez endommager les familles, c'est les dépenses. Si vous ne formez pas, par exemple, le personnel sur la lutte contre les incendies, la prévention et tout, lorsqu'il y a un incendie, par exemple, et que l'employé qui pouvait peut-être éteindre avant que ça n'arrive à un état vraiment incontrôlable, ne peut pas utiliser l'extincteur parce qu'il n'a pas été formé, ça va impacter l'entreprise. Lorsqu'il y a les cas de blessures au sein de l'entreprise, c'est toujours l'entreprise qui dépense pour envoyer des gens à l'hôpital, ils apportent les bons, ainsi de suite.
Justement, Clément, avant d'arriver même au cas des blessures, des accidents, est-ce que l'Organisation internationale du travail veille à ce que les gens qui ouvrent les entreprises aient des éléments de sécurité nécessaires pour pouvoir entretenir les employés?
Il y a des recommandations, par exemple la convention de 155 où ils sortent les recommandations aux employeurs. Et l'État du Cameroun également, à travers le ministère du Travail, a également des lois qui exigent aux employeurs de mettre, d'identifier les différents risques auxquels les employés sont exposés et également de leur donner des équipements de protection et les former également. Il y a le ministère de Mines, Industrie et Développement technologique qui fait les inspections dans les entreprises.
Dans les entreprises?
Oui. Les entreprises qui sont soit classées en première catégorie, deuxième classe, première classe, deuxième classe. Et vous devez présenter les différents risques auxquels les activités de votre entreprise exposent, que ce soit les employés, la communauté ou l'environnement. Et avec les mesures de contrôle. Voilà. Oui. Maintenant, comme on sait, il y a certains qui vont venir. Vous avez vu, il y a une entreprise qui s'est fait dernièrement suspendre pendant 6 mois parce qu'ils n'ont pas respecté certains réglementations. Donc, si du côté du gouvernement, il renforce cela, ça va permettre à ce que on aura moins d'accidents dans les entreprises et également, c'est rentable pour l'entreprise parce que lorsqu'un employé ne vient pas au travail parce qu'il a eu un accident du travail, ça va impacter son truc. Vous devez peut-être recruter quelqu'un qui va le remplacer pendant cette période. Okay. Il y a beaucoup d'avantages du côté de l'employeur comme chez l'employé.
Voilà, Clément, c'est vrai que ça a été un peu court ici pour aujourd'hui. Qu'est-ce qu'on peut retenir de safety and health in company?
Okay, what we need, especially for the employer, because I know they are the major actors when it comes to promoting safety and health. If they put in place a safety management system, they identify all the dangers to which their employees are exposed and they educate them on how they can prevent that. I think this will reduce this number. When I started, I told you that there are 2.78 million people dying every year because of work-related accidents. So these numbers can be reduced, and this number is even more because there are some cases that are not declared. So for the company owners, they need to train their employees on the different risks for which they are exposed. If they don't know, there are consulting firms, they can hire them and then will do the identifications and then provide to them propositions what they can do so that the company is safe, the employees is safe, the environment is safe, and also their investments. So that's what they just need to do, put in place a safety management system and ensure that all the employees are aware about it and that they know what to do, and in that way the company will be safe and employees as well will be safe.
Thank you very much for coming. For those who missed the program, we replay the program on YouTube, Spectrum TV. You people, you can go and see there. After this show, you will have the reply of the program. And thank you, Calvino.
Thank you, too.
And thank you for all you televiewers. And tomorrow is another day. We keep in touch and stay tuned. Ciao. Bye-bye.